This year, as we've done for many years, my wife and I went down to Myrtle Beach to join up with the family, her sisters, our nieces and nephews, our grandnieces and nephews, and spend a week enjoying the water, the pools, the shopping, great seafood, the arcades, just generally having a great time with family. Now, we did this year in August, and when we do, we take our Toyota Highlander, big enough for our clothing, a large cooler, the food that we take for the timeshare, and beach gear. I was aware that my godsons were going to be going down uh, over Labor Day, and they had invited me to come back down and play golf with them. And once we got home, my wife was a little bit under the weather. She gave me her blessing to make the return trip. So I decided to do a little adventure and take the Bolt EV down. Now, as you can see from the map, it's about 250 plus miles. The Bolt's range is 238, so I knew I'd have to make a stop on the way and get a charge. Well, I found that there's a new Electrify America charge station at the Walmart Supercenter in Lumberton, which is 176 miles, roughly two-thirds of the way, perfect distance, and that's where I decided to stop and get my charge before I got to the beach. Okay, I'm here at the Electrify America chargers at the Walmart Supercenter behind me. It's also a Lowe's store. This is in Lumberton, North Carolina. And the store is open 24 hours, so you have access to bathrooms. And there's a subway. I don't know if the subway's open 24 hours, but it's got a nice subway inside. And off in the distance, I'll shoot over the car here, there's Chick-fil-A, there's a Shogun's, which is a hibachi and sushi bar, and there's also, out a little bit past that, is a Starbucks. Starbucks is probably a pretty good walk. I don't know if you'd want to walk that, but anyway, you get the idea. So here we are, Lumberton charge station. At the Electrify America station at Lumberton, I charged for 55 minutes. Battery state of charge went from 19 to 81%, which was terrific. And while all that was going on, I walked over to the Walmart, to the Subway, and got a nice lunch. When I left Lumberton, it's another 77 miles or so down to North Myrtle Beach and my hotel at the Hampton Inn, and drove on down about an hour and a half's drive. Now, there's lots of ways to get to Myrtle Beach coming from all sorts of places in the south and up north. So if you get on some of the smaller back roads, especially off the interstates, you're going to find all sorts of roadside stands selling fresh vegetables, and especially peaches, watermelon, tomatoes, sweet corn, and some of the bigger places will have jellies and jams and honey and that type of stuff. These places are well worth stopping. The food is always good. Of course, it's fresh. And another thing you'll see in this part of the country as you get close to the coast is the Spanish moss. If you're not familiar with it, it's hanging from the oak trees especially, and it's the gray stuff that swirls around in the breezes. Very well-known fixture in the South. My first night, I went over for a quick light meal with my friends, and then the next morning we played at Crow Creek. Good round of golf. I didn't do that well, but the other guys did great. And after that, it was off to charge the car. Well, we're at the Boundary House restaurant. This is a Green Lots charger, and I'm just about finished with my charge up to 80%. Right behind me, and this is actually in the parking lot, you might be able to see the sign there if I zoom in. This is the Boundary House restaurant in Calabash, just as you get into Calabash, and really nice place. Good food, nice bar. Uh, can't say too much about it. And then a little bit up to the right is some of the shopping. St. Nick's has got, it's like a Christmas store. You can see the wreath on the end year round. Really nice area and lots of good food in Calabash, North Carolina. This is right across the state line from South Carolina and Myrtle Beach. A lot of people come up here to eat. After golf yesterday, we took a day off from that. Uh, I went shopping at the Tanger outlets. There's two of these, one in central Myrtle on 501, and I went to the one up at North Myrtle. And had some great Labor Day sales, got some golf shirts and shorts. Then I went over to the PGA Superstore I usually visit, picked up a few small items for some friends, and I did not get to this next place, the old golf store at North Myrtle. It is at 3602 North Kings Highway, which is Highway 17, US Highway 17 South. Sorry, folks, I don't name them, but that's where it's located. Great little store, lots of used equipment for sale, all sorts of choices, and golf balls are very cheap. Good little place to stop in. That night, we went to eat dinner at the Oyster Rock, which is also in Calabash. I mentioned that earlier in the video. And we sat around back on the outer back deck where you could see the inland waterway and had a terrific meal. Great group of people, as you can see. We had a lot of fun being together. And the food there is absolutely terrific, and so is the service. Next morning, we were out at the Tidewater playing very early. Tidewater Golf Course is beautiful. It is tough, but it is a great place to play, and you got some beautiful views out there. After golf, we had lunch. The guys went to eat lunch at the Shack, and this is in Cherry Grove. It's a fixture. It's been there for a very long time. And we had a very nice afternoon meal, and then went out to get some ice cream that night. And then this happened. We had, of course, been watching the progress of Hurricane Dorian as it destroyed parts of the Bahamas, causing massive damage and loss of life there, and then proceeded towards the east coast of the United States. You can see from the map that the purple area was a hurricane warning area, and Myrtle Beach is about 2/3 of the way between Charleston going up the coast towards Wilmington, so it was right in the middle of the warning area. What surprised us was that the evacuation came a bit earlier than we thought. I left on Labor Day Monday as planned and was down the road a ways when I got a text from my friends that when they got back to their timeshare the night before, they had gotten the evacuation order to be out by noon on Labor Day Monday, so they weren't far behind me on the road. The second map shows the actual hurricane as it came up the coast of the United States and caused some flooding and rain damage to South Carolina. The main damage occurred on the outer banks of North Carolina, out at Cape Hatteras area. But we got home fine, didn't have any problems. I was concerned about the traffic on Labor Day. We had had a major slowdown one year coming home on just a regular trip, no hurricanes coming. But this time I had about a 10-minute delay at one point, 5 minutes at another, certainly nothing major at all. I happened to pass by these solar panels in Maxton, North Carolina, so I took a picture and then looked it up later. Turns out there's about a 60,000 panel solar farm in Maxton, so great to see that they are generating green energy in that area. And I just wanted to get it in here as part of the story since I went by it. I did have one major miscalculation. Wasn't a big deal, but I had not really figured this out, I guess, on the way down. When I left home, I had 100% charge on my batteries and got down to Lumberton to get that charge for the beach without any problem at all. On the way back, that was the big stop on the way back towards Statesville, and I got an 87% charge in the batteries before I left. It turns out that that was not going to quite be enough to get me all the way back home, so I had to make a little adjustment. Fortunately, I had some plans set in advance, and there was an EVgo charger at Earp's BP station on the 485 bypass around Charlotte. So I pulled in there, very short stop, 22 minutes of charge, while I went and used the bathroom, got some snacks and a soft drink, came back out, talked to a gentleman who had stopped, and we talked about electric cars, and he had some knowledge of some hybrid uses in trucks that they're working with, big trucks apparently. So nice little chat, and then I was on my way home and was there within about 45 minutes after the stop. All in all, a fine trip. It's too bad that they didn't get to finish their time down at the beach, but the main thing was that everybody got home safely.